Hello everyone, I'm Ashwin Kushwaha, and today I'm going to talk to you about birds and how important they are to us as humans. The ancestors of birds today originated roughly 170 million years ago, which is much longer ago than the ancestors of us, who originated roughly 4 million years ago. According to the renowned historian and broadcaster David Attenborough, birds are one of the most successful creatures on the planet, even more so than insects perhaps, because of their ability to adapt and navigate the trials of the difficult life on Earth. And having the ability to fly for many species of birds has provided them the ability to survive and evolve in situations when other species could not have. And all birds have evolved to fit very specific niches and very specific patterns of behavior. And these specific patterns of behavior that each species is programmed to act out will all affect their relevant environments in a beneficial way, and more importantly, will benefit our global environmental health. And the ecological roles that birds play also affect us humans directly in many ways, and that's what I'm going to be discussing with you today. The first reason that you probably want to thank birds is because they control pests. And this may be a personal benefit to you because they feast on insects like mosquitoes and gnats, which bite and spread disease. But more importantly, birds are good at controlling agricultural pests. And because of how successful birds are at controlling these pests, it's become a common practice across the globe to promote the residence of particular bird species in order to save both money and crops in agricultural settings. And an agricultural magazine referred to as Farm and Dairy discussed about how in the Midwest, in Michigan specifically, the small falcon known as the American kestrel has been introduced by farmers and biologists into orchards and fields. And the American kestrel is also a bird that we get here in Minnesota. But basically, the American kestrel has been successful in eliminating destructive pests like grasshoppers, rodents, and European starlings. So this kind of utilization of bird species to protect crops and other agricultural resources spans across the planet and is seen in settings like Indonesia, where birds are used to protect cacao plantations, in Costa Rica and Jamaica, where birds are used to protect coffee plantations, rice paddies in Spain, and New Zealand grape vineyards are also protected by birds. And according to Stanford University, birds and coffee plantations have increased yields by roughly $75 to $310 per hectare by reducing the number of coffee borer berry beetles, which cause about $500 million worth of damage a year to a product that over 100 million people consume across the planet. Birds are also essential for other certain agricultural products that people use as well. And about 5% of the plants that humans use for both medicine and food are pollinated by bird species, and without these bird species, those plants would cease to exist. And we see this in circumstances like in Hawaii, where 31 species of flowers went extinct following the extinction of particular bird species. As well as pollen, birds also help with dispersing seeds by consuming the fruits and nuts of certain plants, and in some cases, they actually are responsible for up to 70% of the seed dispersal in an entire forest, like forests in New Zealand. In addition to the agricultural resource benefits that birds provide us, they also protect us from the harmful effects of organic waste like deceased animals and putrefying meat by preventing diseases like tuberculosis and rabies from being spread. And they do this by efficiently consuming deceased animals shortly after they've died, before letting other scavengers like canines and rodents get to them once they've been left for a while, which will later affect humans by transmitting these diseases. And this same system that protects us from transmission of diseases also protects livestock from the same deadly diseases. And birds that play this ecological role, like vultures, crows, and ravens, are commonly disliked and associated with negative things such as disease and death because of the way they look and also because of the role that they play in our environment. But It's actually quite the contrary. In the USA, for example, a single vulture in its entire lifetime will provide about $10,000 worth of waste services. And when these birds are absent from environments that they previously inhabited, negative outcomes are always present. As in Asia, for instance, the decline of vultures has resulted in skyrocketing rabies cases in the number of tens of thousands. Keeping the environment clean and healthy is contributed to by most other bird species a bit more indirectly, and they help maintain our environments that are important to environmental management, such as forests, wetlands, and grasslands, which are all important to our environment because they are carbon sinks, groundwater purifiers, and erosion preventers, and they're all maintained by bird species. And this even goes as far as birds protect our coral reef health as well, because when seabirds gather in masses, they produce large amounts of guano, which are bird droppings, and this may seem like a not very good thing, kind of undesirable outcome. However, these droppings, once they're washed away by the ocean, eventually saturate the ocean with nutrients, and they fertilize coral reefs and other sea life. Lastly, we can't forget about how important birds are in regards to feeding us and keeping us warm and comfortable. The domestic chicken, which originated from the Indian jungle fowl, was the first bird to disperse across every continent in the planet. And basically, wherever there are humans, there are chickens or other similar fowl species to be found. And these birds produce eggs and also meat, which are both one of the most commonly consumed food items across the planet. And the feathers that we take from the birds that we consume are then go on to be used as down in jackets and blankets and pillows and other warmth and comfort items. So the next time that you take a sip of coffee, have berries, blueberries, cherries, or apples, eat a turkey on Thanksgiving, have scrambled eggs in the morning, walk through the woods, go scuba diving in a coral reef, or just take a breath of fresh air, give a small thanks to our feathered friends. Thank you.